Oh, no, it's on.
Oh, is it on it? Okay, the YouTube is up now too. Quarantining is going good. We have the home gym here. We have the studio lights and the TV for the YouTube live stream. So me and Dan have been getting some good training in and playing a lot of games too. Let's see here. Okay. 50-50 escape, leg attacks, and defense. Okay. Okay. All right. So for 50-50, a couple of ideas here. The first one is whenever I'm trying to stand up and actually get the pass, I like to focus on turning this knee inward really hard, because one of the big things people do is when you stand up, they start back hooking this leg, right? So they get this back hook here, if you've ever seen this, right? So one of the things I like to do is I look for this cross collar grip first, because it makes it harder for him to invert under, which is one of the big attacks he'll do. And I focus really hard on clamping this knee inward, right? This clamp inward motion makes it much harder for the guy to use this back hook, right? So if I'm just here and I start standing up, right? If I'm here and I just start standing up like this, a lot of times the guy can go for that back hook. And we can still deal with this, but I like to try to avoid it, right? So what happens is when I clamp my right knee in, like I was showing before, like this really hard, and hold the collar, when he tries to go for that back hook, it's really hard for him to turn his hip out because it locks his hip to this side, right? So when I'm here, I hold the collar. I'm going to keep this clamp. This grip can vary. There's a lot of different variations. Let's just say he has like an ankle lock grip, exactly like this, right? So I'm going to keep this knee clamped, and now I'm going to stand up, but I still keep this knee pressure angled in, right? So this back hook here, he can get it sometimes just a little bit, but it's hard for him to come around by the back with it. He can't move his body that way. Usually when it happens, I'll pop this foot out, right? When he pops the foot in, I try to get at the toes first. If you start messing with this, sometimes that hooks. So I go for the toes first, and I push it out. What I want to do is once I get it out, I have the leg kind of in and bent, and I kind of pop it back until I can get my knee behind his hamstring here, right? Go ahead and lock it again. Okay, and you can stay locked this time, right? So I'll come up here. I keep this knee tight. I get my left hand behind this hamstring or knee, and I try to pop my knee back. Once I get my knee behind his hamstring here, it's very easy to drive and rip this open. My right hand, I'll just control this top leg. Once I pop this open, I'm going to grab the foot, step around, and try to go to knee on belly. In reality, he'll probably scramble there, so I may have to do some sort of different pass finish variation, but it breaks the position. If I stand up and the guy does get a back hook and I'm like in damage control, then one of the things I really like to do, I learned this when I was training with Ryan Hall, and just turn this a little bit. It's just whenever I feel like I'm really getting in trouble here and it starts to go for that back hook, as soon as I feel this come in, I'm just gonna mirror the same exact hook on his leg as well here, like this. Usually when I get here, I can at least pull this out and avoid the back take and try to get out and come back on top. You may end up giving up the sweep, but it's very good at defending the initial back take. If I stay here and I try to fight this too long, it's easy for him to start going for my hip and start going for this, right? Cool. All right, guys. See if I can go on YouTube. Trey, you have a lot of time stretching and mobility. I like GMB Fitness has a lot of good stuff for mobility that helped me a lot, as well as the book Stretching and what was it called? Stretching and Flexibility by Kit Laughlin. Yeah, those GMB is like they have a website and they also have an Instagram with a lot of different content on there. But I would say following any of those two places is really good. Is deep de la Riva your go-to position to set up the vice guard? Yeah, so I have like, 4 primary setups for the vice guard. It's the deep de la Riva is a really good one, especially if they're posturing a lot, right? Like, so the question was, if you're on Instagram, you didn't see what the question, because I'm going back and forth between Instagram and YouTube for the questions. The question was like the best setup location for the vice guard. You have to have different setups because it just depends on how the guy's positioning himself. But if you want to set up the vice guard and the guy's postured a lot, it's really hard, right? So like if I was here and I had this cross sleeve and I just wanted to go like this, if he's already postured, even if I could get in here, it's really hard. This isn't a strong position, right? So if I wanted to set it up from here, I might have a lasso or something and he deadlifts. And now I'm going to switch to this cross sleeve. From here, this is a common setup. Keep on, brother. This is a common setup to go for like a deep lace to go for the back, right? But instead of going for the deep lace to the back, I'm just going to get this lace and go to De La Riva X first, right? That's very easy to set up when they're postured up. Keep posturing up, right? Once this happens, if he stays completely up here, I'll probably start going for the back. Usually I'll get this armpit grip with my left hand, put my right foot on the floor and bring him down to the floor, right? You have to do that threat. If he gives you the back, you take the back. But usually once you go De La Riva X, they'll come down a bit to address it. I get that armpit grip, go back up, and then now you don't be super straight. Yeah, like that's perfect. Yep. Right, so once I get here, the thing with De La Riva X when you have the cross sleeve, it's very easy for the guy to push this leg down, right? You can't just stay here statically. If I have the far sleeve, now I can kind of sit in De La Riva X. Ask for this armpit, I tuck this arm and pull with this armpit grip, and I put my right foot on the floor to off balance him this way. That'll force him to post the hand and usually kind of drop to the knee. For an attack, so if he starts trying to pummel an underhook here, this can turn into like a Tariqa Plata, and all sorts of different attacks will come up, right? So if the guy's deadlifting a lot, I like the De La Riva X, the deep De La Riva to De La Riva X to set it up. But at the same time, if the guy's kind of got his hips back, go up, and like he's like kind of more low, right, like this, in this case, it may be harder. So a lot of times I like that kind of setup here, right? But they're all just different variations. Okay, let's take a question from Instagram. Let's see where we're at here. Let's see what people joining. What's your opinion on the lapel system, worm and squid guard, for example? Do you feel sleeve and collar systems are more superior? I guess that's a double something. Are they stronger than the lapel systems? I don't really like to think in terms of like which guard's better than which, but I would say I definitely prefer like the kind of more classic collar sleeve, double sleeve, and those kind of positions because they tend to transition together better. So for example, go up. If you're playing collar sleeve, right? I can be playing collar sleeve, and if he grabs this right leg, right, just go to the pants or something. Right. Like here, I'm one grip change away from double sleeve, right? Now I can break past the body, be doing stuff here, have my foot on the hip. I'm one grip change away from collar sleeve. And while I'm in collar sleeve, I could go here, he gets his elbow knee tight to defend the omoplata. I get a strong De La Riva hook, and now I'm one grip change away from a leg hook De La Riva to a bolo, right? And I think a lot of the classic open guards tend to transition together very easily because they're like one grip change away. You're on the collar, then you're on the ankle, then you're on the far sleeve, then you're on the sit-up guard, and they all connect. The lapel systems are very powerful and they're really good. So I'm not like saying that they're not as good, but they tend to almost in the same way that the open guards connect, they connect themselves. But it's hard to switch from a reverse De La worm directly to double sleeve, or from reverse De La worm directly to collar sleeve or collar ankle. So in that way, I don't think they connect as much. I think it's good to have both in your game, but I certainly feel my style fits more with the more open style because I feel more aggressive and more fast paced. Cool. Okay, let's take a question from YouTube. Hello, Jonathan. Let's see here. The next question was basically, this is pretty niche if you've watched my double sleeve series on BJJ Fanatics. So basically, when we're in lasso spider and the guy's standing, a lot of people like to look for this De La Riva hook. A lot of people like to look for this De La Riva hook if his elbow and knee is tight and keep this kind of bent, right? Yeah. So the De La Riva hook is strong when the guy's leg is bent, right? So I can kind of unlasso, put a good De La Riva hook in, maybe this leg's past the body, and I can attack from here a lot, right? But sometimes this guy's going to have a straight leg. So if the guy's leg is straight, getting a De La Riva hook can be really hard in this situation, right? Because the leg's not bent. There's no place for the hook to go, right? So in that case, a lot of times, you see how there's no hook here? A lot of times when it's like that, I like to unlasso and start trying to work underneath the guy to go to these kind of positions where I go underneath, and then I can flip him overhead. I can attack ankle locks. There's a lot you can do once you go underneath, right? So Nick's question is, a lot of times when I do this, I switch to this spider hook first, and then I kick underneath. He's asking, why don't I just go straight underneath? So the reason for this is when I have a lasso spider, you can hold the pants here. I'm safe when I'm in the lasso spider, but if he's standing and I leave my leg off like this, he can throw me, right? So I know that. So whenever I lasso this leg, I know catch with this foot in time when he throws, and that centers me up. So that's usually why I have both feet in the biceps. It's because I have to because he's going to throw. Technically, if the guy wasn't throwing, I could unlasso and just go directly underneath here or here and pull him overhead. But also when you're fighting a guy who knows this game, as soon as I unlasso, he throws, boom, I catch. Now I break underneath, work underneath here, and then now I can start attacking, going for ankle locks or whatever I want to do. Cool. All right, let's take a question from Instagram. Okay, what are your favorite Toreano combinations? From James from Sundaland. I'll show you a couple I like to do here. The first thing to understand is like, what is the main finishing position look like? Then you can kind of figure out different ways to get to the finish position. The most important thing with the Toreano is I want to turn his hips away and try to get inside this elbow knee space, right? So ideally, you want to push this and open this leg with some method. Once this space is open here, I'll mirror it on the other side. Once I've opened this space and I've turned his hip away, now I'm inside the elbow knee space, right? So that's what we're always trying to get to. And the grips I'm going to use to set it up are going to vary just depending on what he's, like what grips he's using and how he's trying to fight, right? So my favorite thing, let's turn to the other side. My favorite variation is just classically my favorite one is where I just grab the pants on the inside here. I grab the top leg. I'm going to step out to the side here, and then I'm going to drive to turn this top leg over. I want to make sure I stay high posture. A lot of people come in really low like this, but the guy high like this. Scoot back just a little bit. Like when I'm here and he tries to frame, see when I'm really high, it's hard for him to reach my shoulder. That opens this gap up here a lot more, right? And then I can come in here and go for the knee on belly. I really like that one, especially when the guy's centered, right? So a lot of times I use my palms first to kill the legs. If you focus on the pants first, a lot of times when you go for the pants, the guy's feet can come to your biceps. When I go here, he can't put the feet in the biceps because my palm will get pants, right? Now I'm going to step to the side, stay high posture. I open this leg as I drive the top arm to the right here like this, okay? And I try to finish a knee on belly. If he keeps his knee kind of tight here, a lot of times what I do is scoot. A lot of times what I'll do is I try to get my knee in here, and it's not that I'm going to knee on belly. It's like I'm using my knee to open his hip back up. So if there's like a small gap in here, if I can kind of get my knee in, I can use this to open that up. And that also makes it harder for him to stack himself. Some guys try to lift their legs up over their head. If I'm here and this is pinned, it's hard for him to bring his legs up overhead, right? So when I come in, I go high here and use that knee to open up and come in, right? The other one I really like is if I start and the guy's like side tilted like this. So let's say I'm here. If he's so turned this way, it can be hard to turn him all the way back to the other side. So instead, I'm going to go towards the top side, right? So let's just turn this way real quick. Yep. There you go. So when I'm here like this, sometimes it's hard to go that way. So what I do, I control the bottom leg. I'm just going to control this foot and then just guide it over here. And now I switch to this knee. Once I get to this knee, he's going to turn back into me. And now it's the same exact position, just mirrored on the other side. I push open and come in there, right? So again, this one, I'm here. He thinks I'm going to go this way. I just block and go in here and come in there. Cool. All right. Let's see what else. Hey, what's up, Zada? All right, let's take another question from YouTube. How to avoid getting shin drop passed from De La Riva, dealing with forward pressure from De La Riva in general. Often they're so far forward, I can't push the hip with my foot. So go up. This is from Giavito. His question is, how do you avoid the shin drop in De La Riva? So when I'm in De La Riva, one big mistake people make is they're always chasing this De La Riva hook, which makes sense because it's called the De La Riva guard, so you would think it's important, right? But
really a lot of times I use my knee pressure first, right? If you go for the De La Riva hook and his leg is straight, again, it's weak. And now my leg is kind of low. It's easy for him to drop his shin over this. And there's different variations of this. He could drop his shin over, like, so if I had the pants, he could drop his shin over my shin, go out here. Now the position's going to kind of die, right? Or depending on how he sets it up, he can also come forward and it goes more into a straight club pass. And this one's really brutal as well. Either way, both of those will be stopped if you focus on keeping your hips centered and using your knee heavy into his knee like this. This strong knee pressure here makes it really hard for him. He can't shin drop here because you're going to start moving there. It's just really hard there when you have your knee heavy, right? Now, what often happens is when you keep strong knee pressure with this, he'll drive his knee back in. When that happens, he's bending his leg, and now I have a strong hook. You see, if he tries to pop his leg straight, I go back to the knee. He goes the other way. That rotation is really important for understanding how De La Riva hooks work, right? Now, as far as what my other leg should be doing, it depends a lot on the system. I could be looking for the far sleeve. Usually my recommendation for people new to De La Riva is keep this knee tight, hold the pants, elbow tight here. Let's go on the other side now. Right, so knee tight, left elbow tight. I have my right leg up here, and I'm always looking for this sleeve. Because for him to do any pass, he's got to either trap this or he's going to try to drag it across. Those are the main two. So as he's looking to grab this, I'm looking to get his sleeve. If he tries to grab my pants, usually I'll just break past the body. If he tries to grab my ankle fast, I'll just break it between the leg really quick and then bring it out. Don't overextend. I just do a short kick. So go grab it real quick. Grab it. Yeah. Like this. I just do a quick little break there, and then I bring my leg out like this. Then I go pull up, and from here you can decide what you want to do. I could push the hip out and go to sit-up guard. I could go in the bicep, and I'm starting to play like the Leandro guard. You can start trying to do De La Riva X stuff. There's a lot of places you could go, right? But I think a lot of your issues probably stem from that initial knee pressure and foot pressure. And with this, you don't need to have foot, like, don't think about always putting your foot on the hip. I want this back more until I get control. If I'm doing this, I'm actually making his job easier to push down, right? So I want this back. Look at my hand's always annoying. If he hides his hand a lot, then I might grab the collar and start trying to do other stuff, right? So I kind of mix the thread of that collar and the sleeve. Cool.
Yeah, James M. Can you create a video about the best way to document journal techniques, learning class, 50/50 diagrams, text? Yeah, I'll do a video on that soon. I'm getting my station set up. I have like a microphone and stuff, so I can start doing more videos like that. Yep. Let's see. Instagram, favorite way to pass old school collar sleeve without the De La Riva. Okay, so old school collar sleeve. Let's go here. By old school, let me see who that question was from again. Greg, you said favorite way to pass old school collar sleeve without the De La Riva. Do you mean like the foot on the hip? Reset. Okay. So Iron Republic, do you mean from De La Riva? Like they're holding your pant leg in De La Riva? Yes. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So go here. So short answer, no. I don't really try to break this pant grip. I think you should just focus on trying to pass through the position. And let me adjust the camera a little bit. Okay. So when I'm trying to pass De La Riva, I don't really focus so much on trying to break this pant grip, because if he's got a good grip, that's just not going to happen. The best case, if you wanted to do that, would be to shin drop, which I would turn my toes out and then try to shin drive over his shin like this. A lot of times that'll break it. It depends on how baggy your pants are. I have one student, he'll always hold it even in that case. So I think more your focus here should be, don't worry about the pant grip. You just go for like leg drags, reverse leg drags, knee cuts. Those passes will make him let go of the grip. So if I'm here and I kill the leg and I hit a good knee cut, even if he holds it, you can hold the grip tight. Even if he holds the grip really tight, like he can't go anywhere with this. And it's just a matter of time until I get in here and I cross face or whatever I do, I can break it, right? A lot of times when people try to knee cut in De La Riva, the feeling that they have, stay tight, is when they cut, like you can't stay. They try to cut and they can't get through, and they think it's because of the pant grip. But the reason they can't get through is because it's more the mechanic of their knee cut. If I can disconnect this knee from my knee, and there's space here, now when I cut my knee, you can stay tighter. Yeah, now when I cut my knee, it'll actually start going through, right? So that's usually the issue for why it feels like the pant leg. With like a leg drag, if he's holding the pants, it's actually better for me. If I drag this across, he should be letting go of this to try to frame and recompose. If he keeps holding here, now it's just easier to get in tighter and tighter on the pass, right? So I wouldn't think about trying to break that grip as much as I would just focus on either hitting a leg drag, a reverse leg drag, a knee cut, or a folding pass or something like that. Cool, no problem. Yeah, so alternatively, one more follow-up question from Iron Republic. Alternatively, he's saying, do you just wait till they switch to collar sleeve grip to be proactive with your grip breaks and to get another passing position? Grip breaking, like I generally don't break grips very often. I only break grips when I feel like breaking the grip will prevent him from going back to the same position. So what I mean by that is like if we're here and we're in De La Riva and he grabs like my collar here, if I'm always like break and then I come back down, then I break and then I come back down, and it like that's more being passive. Like you're not really accomplishing anything, right? So a lot of times if I'm here, I kill this leg and he grabs the lapel. Fine, I let him have it and then I knee cut through the position anyway. That's kind of how Leandro deals with that position. So most of the time I'm not breaking the grip, especially collar or sleeve. Like in collar sleeve, breaking the sleeve grip is reasonable, but trying to break the collar grip doesn't do too much, you know? Like if we're in collar sleeve here, and like he's got a lasso collar sleeve, and I just go through all this energy to get here, I finally break it, right? Now I let go and grab, so he's gonna grab it again immediately. So it's really like a waste of time. I would rather get the lapel, try to loop this leg, start killing here, doing more like a Lapre collar sleeve passing system, or try to loop out of the lasso and set up a pass. So I guess it's very case dependent on whether or not I break the grips or not. It's not like I always try to break the grips, but there is certain situations I do think it's worth breaking. But again, that's very case specific, so I just have to show you case by case. Okay, let's see here. Hey, John, I'm entering double sleeve spider X guard fairly often, but I find it awkward once I'm in the position and don't know how to be offensive. Can you show options here? Okay, yeah, so real quick, go up. And then we'll take a question from Instagram next. Okay, so the position is from like, we start in lasso spider or wherever, and we start working underneath, right? I get my foot under the butt, I try to pull the guy overhead, I can't get the sweep, but I end up in this kind of modified X position here. Okay, right? So I have my right foot under here, I'm on the near side, like hamstring or hip, and from here there's a lot of different sweeps I can do. It depends on the guy's posture. The first thing I usually try to do is extend my left spider hook up overhead. I pull my knee tight to my chest, I drive my hamstring up, and that'll make him step forward. As he steps forward, I can usually lift with my right foot in his ribs or even my shin under his hamstring a little, right? And I can create this overhead off balance sweep there, right? If I go under and I try to create that forward off balance, I feel like it's difficult. Usually what I do here is I'm gonna kind of step on this bicep and turn onto my right side hip, and that'll make him step back, right? And now I can kind of extend this spider hook and clip this leg out here and tuck this arm. That'll drop him backwards. This also makes it really easy to switch into a really good ankle lock, or you can just come up for the sweep, right? Another really good one once you come under here is you can put your foot sideways onto the far side thigh. This is the one Paquito does a lot. And you push out here like this. Right? Once you get out here, you can take them overhead. Sorry, go back. Right? So you can push them out here, take them overhead. Or I can take this spider hook off and put the toes in the butt there and flip them overhead there. You get a lot of great sweeps. This is also great. If you know my ankle lock series, I can get this foot to lift here, and then I can choke up on this and get that really tight ankle lock position here. And there I get the tap standing. It's almost like a legal heel hook. Those are my two favorites. Of course, you can always switch to X guard as well. So if you don't know those sweeps very well, just going for X guard is also really good. Okay, Instagram. Let's see. When I play double sleeve, people deadlift and pinch their knees together, making it really hard to go to X guard. What's another option? Okay, that's from Brenneman BJJ. Stand up. So anytime I'm actually, let me talk conceptually about this real quick. Anytime I'm fighting someone and I'm just playing my guard as a whole, you can either stay in the position or the system that you play. So like, let's say you play double sleeve. You can stay within the double sleeve and attack from there, or you can break out of the system to try to attack another way, right? So I'll try to give you two options in that case.
So if I'm in lasso spider, right, and he's deadlifting and pinching knees, I think it's kind of hard for them to do both effectively. Like if he pinches his knees, he can't really be fully deadlifted, right? But let's just say, okay, so the easy one, go ahead and deadlift and pinch your knees, is if he does this, you could always let go of this sleeve and grab the ankle. And now if he stays pinched here, I would just break the grip. I can mermaid sweep here. I just lock my legs around his legs, lock the legs here, grab the ankle, and then I just kind of ankle sweep that way, right? Or you could try to bump him to that side, swipe that hand out before he goes to the floor. Go back here, so his knees are pinched. I go here, I push across, and I just catch this right before the hand touches the floor. Just a little bit, yeah, right before I just clip it out, and then we'll drop him out to the side, right? So like either the ankle sweep backwards or that one is good. If I want to stay within spider, again, it just depends on how postured up he is. Another one I really like is when he's here and he pinches and goes up like this, is I'll switch the spider hook in here, I can even go to the armpit, and I'll kind of go out to the side like this, and I'll try to push his hip out. It depends on how postured up he is. But if I can get his hip pushed out here, keep your knees pushed. Yeah. If he doesn't pinch hard enough, I can usually just dip my knee underneath, and now I'm kind of underneath. That's almost like a spider hook key master position, right? But if the legs are really, really tight, then usually he can't be as postured up. Then I push his hip out, keep him really tight. Then I'll break this one here. Now I center up and I go shin on shin, clear that, and then you can really fly in there, right? So that one's really good as well. This is recorded, so you guys can always go back and check it out if you want to see it again later. And then you can also switch to, right, if I'm here and the last night he postures up really hard here, you can also switch to this cross sleeve here, and I can start trying to elevate to go for like a deep lace, and then start going for the back there as well. Cool. Brendan May, 50-50 passing. I did that actually at the beginning of the live stream, so after it posts, you can go back and check it out. Hey, what's up, Daniel? Good to see you, bud. All right, let's take a question from Instagram. Okay, collar sleeve with foot on the hips passing. Okay, great question. So let's do this one. Okay, so let's start with collar sleeve. He's got the left foot on the hip. Okay, so here, right, he's got the foot on the hip, okay? So the first thing I want to do here is I know the triangle omoplata is coming. It's really threatening here. So it depends on where we start. If the foot's in the bicep, that's really bad too. So I want to try to get inside here quick, and I'm going to focus on getting my hand to like his rib cage. I just want my forearm. I want my forearm in between my chest and his hips. Because if he tries to shoot up for a triangle here or something, my forearm will save me. It looks a little sloppy, but it'll save you here, right? Because I can always frame him back down. If I get caught looping here too much, sometimes when he shoots the triangle here, now it's really hard, right? Whereas here, even if he starts in the bicep and he starts shooting for the triangle here, if I can get this in, I can kind of frame him down with my forearm. Once I get the forearm down like this, I'm going to try to work my left hand to his hip, okay? So turn this a little bit. Yeah, I'm going to try to get my left hand on his hip. Once I get the hip, now my right arm is more free. And if he tries to shoot the triangle, my hand is pinning his hip, so it's hard to get the elevation for it. From here, I'll turn this way. My left hand's on the hip, right? From here, now he'll probably have lassoed this leg or something like this. Now I have that hip pin. I'm going to try to swipe this and control the leg. Once I control this leg, I have to pass this way. Passing this way is really hard because this leg is on the outside here. It's really hard to clear that. So then now, as I'm here and he has the lasso, right, I'm going to swipe this and try to control here, push it down. And it's kind of like the Toreano I showed earlier. I'm going to push it across, and I step around and try to catch the knee. And now I'm going to try to pass here.
In reality, if the guy's really hip to it, he's probably going to lasso that other leg again. Right, so we're here. Right, so he's lassoing, I'm framing, I pull back, I get the hip, right, I swipe here, and then I'm start running this way. If he lassos here, now it just depends on how you deal with it. If you like the left leg lead, I could go here and start doing the Lapel style pressure pass for the lasso, or I could stay with the right leg lead here and try to loop out of this, break the grip, and now again I can come in for the knee cut if he lassos, come here, Lapel style pressure pass through that, okay? Cool. No problem, buddy. I know that's a really difficult one to deal with, so hope that helps. All right, let's take a question from YouTube. Let's see here. Hey, what's up, Derek? Good to see you, bud. Do you have any tips for getting Toreano bull passed while setting up double spider grips and afterwards being placed in the on belly, but still have far side belly? I'm not sure I'm following that one. Derek, go ahead and DM me that question, and then I'll look at it more in depth because I'm a bit confused by the wording. Does the Lapel style of passing lasso work when the opponent has his toes all the way in? No, it does not. So the freestyle pass, and just leave the lasso shallow first. Yep. It's like kind of this one where I kill this leg, I kind of come out to the side, I'm up my toes, and I frame and lift this and come through. If he's deep on the lasso here, you have to do some extra steps. I personally have like kind of a loop out version that I like to use here to pass, where I loop my hand down to this leg, turn, and then I do kind of a long step to pass. If you wanted to stick with this system, keep it deeper, yeah, like this, you could try to kind of back up and use your chest weight to get that down, bring it back out, come back through, and go that way. So you could try to bring it back out, but it is a little bit harder. Ideally, you know, if I grab the lapel and the guy starts lassoing in the first place, I just kind of turn to the side and lift my elbow and block it. He can't really go through good deep. See, it's hard to do that in the first place. And now I kind of get my pressure in. This could turn into a stack, turn into a knee cut. Just depends on where you go from there. Cool. Okay, what to from the HQ? Let's see. Boom. Okay, so what to from HQ position, setting up a knee cut when your opponent controls your inside leg with an ankle grip or even an overhook. Do you understand that one?
Not the overhook, but that just means like daily heel with the legs stuff.
Daily heel. Okay, so what to do from HQ position, setting up a knee cut when your opponent controls your inside leg with a ankle grip or even an overhook. So you're just, okay, so I think he just means like a daily heel knee cut basically. So this is Furger. So you're saying you go to HQ, so you have like the lapel here, and he's holding your ankle. Is that correct? Delay time. Okay, well, we'll get back to that question if you respond. Yeah, that's it. Okay, that's it. Yeah, so here, let's turn this way to see the knee cut angle better. Right, so if I'm here and I'm going for a knee cut, I want my knee to kind of go up the center. So again, it can vary largely depending on how this leg is. If his leg is shielded, you could either folding pass, or if you want a knee cut, I focus on going more up the center here. So what I want to do is stay tighter. Yeah. Okay, I use my elbow here to kind of frame out this knee, because if this knee stays connected, it's really hard to knee cut, right? So I'm going to grab the lapel, try to frame this out. I'm going to open his knee, and I want to shoot my knee upward, right? You don't want to go towards his shin. You want to go upward. Like this, the angle of your knee wasn't correct. Usually it just feels that way, but it's because your ankle's off, right? Same thing if he's holding my pants, right? And you go here and you do this wrong, stay really tight, right? It's gonna feel like this, and you're gonna feel like the pants is what held you back, but it's actually the legs, right? So if I frame this out here and I get a good angle, my knee's gonna go up and through, right? So that's really what you wanna focus on. Okay. When you have collar sleeve de la Hiva. Yeah, easy. Anthony Jacoboy. When you have collar sleeve de la Hiva and they break the collar grip, I would just re-grab the collar grip, honestly. Go up.
Yeah, so when you're in like here, collar sleeve, de la Hiva like this, I always try to have this right foot on the bicep. If it comes off or something and he tries to break this here, you can always go back. Like he doesn't always just go back to the collar. If you really didn't want to deal with it and like break it and punch up there like this, I can always cross grip here and then try to go for a deep lace. That's often open whenever they're posturing a lot to break the grip a lot. Cool. Let's see a question from Instagram. Let's see the best of relative guard. Thank you, buddy. What are good open guard exercises I can do with my belt? Yeah, this is a great question from Brenna about good exercises you can level, but honestly, it's just probably not the answer you want to hear. But like at a higher level, there's not much you can do solo drill wise that's going to help you like at all. I think that the best thing you can do, of course, everyone has different situations with like the quarantine, is if you can find someone that you can work with once or twice a week, or even once a week that you can just practice stuff on. That's all you need. If you want to put time into jiu-jitsu, not on the mat, the best thing you can do is watch competition video or watch like instructionals. Try to watch a lot of content and take complicated. You really need to have the feedback in a position of what it's like when the person's resisting to be able to make progress in these positions. So, but then in your off time, try to watch competition footage. When I watch competition footage, I try to pay attention by positions. I don't just watch the whole match, maybe in the beginning to see what's in it, but then I find a position I find interesting and I start taking notes on what I see the person doing. And then I start specific sparring in the position, see what problems come up, and then I watch videos again. I do that. So you can get a lot better when off the mat, but I do feel like that's by watching video, but you do need at least some time on the mat to practice. That being said, I think you would be best served if you have no one else to train with. Watch competition video and then focus on flexibility and strength training. I think would be the best thing you could do. Because if you're out for say 4 months and you take your strength training really seriously, and you could come back like way stronger doing body weight strength, like handstand push-ups, pull-up progressions, get really strong, increase your flexibility a lot. That's something that's super functional you can do now. And that's something that's hard to do when you're doing a lot of jiu-jitsu training, because your body's kind of weakened from the jiu-jitsu training, so it's hard to get as strong. So that's probably the most efficient thing you can do physically right now, is to try to maximize your strength and flexibility while you're off the mat. Okay. Anthony Jacoboy, again, I see you said you meant collar de la Hiva with the pant grip if they break the collar grip. In that case, if they're breaking the collar grip there. Okay, so if we're here like this, and I'm going for the collar grip and he keeps breaking it here, it depends on how it happens. But if he breaks here, if he lags at all, I might be able to get this cross sleeve, and then I can, of course, go for like a deep lace again. If he breaks it and I can get the other sleeve, then I can go for pushing his hip out and going for this. But let's presume he's breaking and I can't get either sleeve. Let's say I have the pant, right? There's no sleeve or anything there. Then a couple of other options you could do. This is where I do like some like lapel guard threats. Like if you pull this out, you can even do it with a belt, right? Because if he's here and he's hiding the sleeve a lot and he's already postured up a lot, like this, all that's hard to get. It's very easy to now do this, right? I could push the hip out, boom, and start feeding and start setting up any of the worm series and stuff. So that's a great threat. Even if you don't like to play that game, if you start going for it, the guy will have to address it, because you'll go here like this. And as you start pushing out, he'll start coming down more to address things. And you can go back to the collar, get the sleeve, anything like that. So going for that's good. Go again. Another one I like to do is sometimes I'll butterfly hook this leg to pull him forward and just do an ankle pick sweep like that. That usually will get him to come down. If he's staying postured, breaking everything like this, sometimes the belt can be good, and I can like deep lace with the belt like that, and that turns into a really easy bolo option. Another one is a Kyoto ankle lock, so he's breaking everything like this. you can swipe through here and threaten the Katatera ankle lock really hard. He's going to have to come down to try to address this again, or he's just going to get knocked down. But I like that one a lot. The guy's just deadlifting, breaking everything. Just swipe in that Katatera ankle lock, butterfly hook the far leg, and then drive down with the knee to get the finish there. All of those are great options. All right, let's see a question from Instagram. Okay, from Sebastian, Pennsylvania, AJJ. He's asking if you're playing guard and the guy gets a cross grip on your pant leg, right? I try to be pretty active with that in the first place. The cross grip isn't as bad as when he pins it, right? So like if I'm here and he gets a cross grip, this isn't that bad. If I lasso here, usually I can just grab this cup here and rip that off. I double grip it, right? So this isn't so bad. It's more like if I was out here and he pins it to the floor, that's when it starts getting more annoying. One thing you can do here, and even that, it's not too bad. A lot of times I can strip that like that. It's when he starts getting to the lapel, it's really bad, right? So I want to try to protect that early. If he does get the lapel, I try to frame, and as he starts going around that way, I try to get my foot across in the lapel like this. From here, I can break. And a really easy thing you can do to mess him up too is if he gets here like this, and I've already broke this, is just invert through. That'll mess his hand grip up as well, right? And you don't have to be hyper flexible to do that, right? So I would be here like this. He's looking for grip. I definitely want to protect him from getting the lapel, right, like this. So I'd be here, kind of go across with the foot, invert. I have my hands ready to frame, and as I come through, his grip is going to be really twisted. Again, if I'm here like this and he starts trying to get a cross grip here, usually moving, if he gets it, I would just get the sleeve and grab the wrist, rip that off quick, and then now I have a lasso or a collar sleeve and I can start building off of that. But I try to be pretty preemptive on that in the first place. Okay, let's see here. Do you like favorite options from near side pant? Let's take a question. Is there any questions on Instagram here? No. Okay. Favorite options. Do you like sit-up guard? Yeah, sit-up guard is one of my favorite guards to play. I feel like for sweeping, to me, it's like the best guard in jiu-jitsu for sweeping. It's like one of the most efficient, right? So I don't usually do sit-up guard starting from like sitting up, ironically. Like if he's here. Like if he's like this, I don't just come in and start grabbing a single leg like this, right? I feel like a lot of times it's easier for the guy to fight from here. So usually when I'm going to set up guard, I'm setting it up from an open guard first. I'll have like a lasso spider or lasso like body, something like this, a daily hebo hook. And then from here, I switch to the ankle and I already have this sleeve, right? From here, I push the hip out. I don't like to push to the thigh. I like to push really high on the hip. I clamp my left leg in really tight. That's very important. A lot of people sit up really loose and this leg can step back. I want to clamp my leg in, sit up and get really tight, right? One of the most important things in sit-up guard, right, is I want to go really deep behind this leg. I want to go so far that my elbow, the crook of my elbow is like behind his leg, and I pull his leg in so that I get my weight kind of behind his hamstring. Now my left hand, I'm going to grab high on the lapel here, right, like this. And now here, it's really hard for him to turn his knee back into me because I have all my body weight on that leg. That makes it much easier if I just wanted to come up here. When I drive, his foot's really light, right? If you're in front of the leg and you try to come up, he can keep driving his knee into you and you get pushed back down. When you're behind the leg here like this, as he drives his knee in, I have a lot of weight behind it. It's easy to start coming up. The other really easy thing to implement with the sit-up guard game, you're like right here, is once I already have this sit-up guard here, right? I prefer this kind of a lapel grip if I can get it, rather than rather than this. I prefer if I can get it this high lapel grip like this, right? So I'm here like this. Now the other one I really like is I often will put my foot on this thigh. If he grabs this to push it down, I get the sleeve. Once I get the sleeve, if he drives into me, it's very easy to tuck that arm and bump him. I grab behind the tricep and come up, right? So that's a really good one. Again, if you're on the Grappler's Guide, I have a lot of content and all those different techniques on there, so it's worth checking out.
Let's see here. Let's see, any new developments in the stomp passing stuff? You made a video on. Did you run into any major problems? Iron Republic is asking the stomp passing, what he's referring to.
So go super wide leg.
Is like these kind of passes here. Yeah, I still love these. I use these a lot. The big thing is like with all techniques, just about, it's just about like knowing where these techniques fit into your game is the big thing, right? So like if you're here and the guy's knees are centered and you're trying to like force that, it's not really the right time. So for me, when the guy's centered, I'm looking more Toreano, maybe setting up a knee cut. When he starts going super wide leg like this, especially if he's like on this side, because I like to pass this way, it can feel awkward. Then I just push this towards the floor. If he stays here, I can just pin this. Really easy to leg drag, really easy to long step here, right? And what'll usually start happening is as I start trying to pin, he'll start like kind of bringing his leg up and coming more naturally to the center. And then it becomes easier to hit the Toreano and stuff. So yeah, I still use that all the time. Honestly, I don't have many problems with it. Most of the time what happens is you get it like one time on the guy. Maybe you pass, maybe you almost pass. Then they start respecting you enough to start keeping their legs more centered, or they do like a sideways position. The two most valid ways for the person on bottom to be when they're on their back is either knees tight and centered, like this kind of a positioning, right? Or a really strong side tilt, like this. And then they're looking for like the cross collar. This turns into collar sleeve, can turn into kind of key master positions. So I think like a really strong side tilt or a center position are my two favorite spots. But when the guys do this like wide leg, I feel like it's a bit risky for the stomps as well as like diving bolos and stuff. That being said, if you're flexible enough, I think you can keep your hip on the floor here. Okay, Aaron I want to say McMahon, it's Micken. Yeah, so Aaron is asking, maintaining collar sleeve, foot on the hip, or the bicep, I think is what he's asking. Foot on the hip, other on the bicep, and what to do as the foot gets controlled by the opponent. Okay, yeah,
So one big thing to understand in collar sleeve is the expectation that this free foot, is always going to be on the bicep is like, it's a lot of times you'll lose it. If I have the foot on the hip, it is harder for him to loop this, but sometimes you will loop it. Right? So let's say he's controlled it here. There's a lot to controlling this. If he's got the angle, I can usually bring my knee back and I lead with my foot like this. You see how I'm like taking my right foot and I kind of like circle his wrist first. A lot of people try to push it down. A lot of people try to go directly to the bicep. If you focus on the wrist first with your foot, a lot of times you'll buckle that and you can go back in. The big thing is if you did kill this, don't over push with this foot. If I push with my left foot really hard here, now he can start trying to run around this way, pass, and it's harder to lasso because I'm overextended and I'm turned the wrong way. So here I kind of keep my foot kind of light. If he's not that close here, I might even just try to lasso, or I could bring this to the bicep. That's always safe, but just don't over chase, right? Here, if I'm kind of loose like this, I would try to bring my foot around and go back to the bicep. Now I can start trying to attack there. You could always underhook here to start trying to go into like key master, work underneath. But if you just want to stay purely in collar sleeve, then I would try to loop to get this foot back in the bicep. If you feel like he's going to kill it, and he starts going that way, just lasso, push, bring it back to the bicep. And now you might have to play near side collar sleeve for a bit with the deal like heel hook if he gets tight. If he leaves this open, you can just go right back to the hip or attack the triangle, but he's probably going to wedge you out here. So now you're going to go back to the deal like heel hook, and now we're trying to take him backwards, take him forwards, rip from the omoplata triangle. And then if he kills this leg, it's pretty common. We lasso, maybe knee shield, try to work underneath back to the hip, to the bicep, and work around there.
From Eden Wong. How do you look to engage someone's guard when they're simply sitting up, right? So I kind of categorize it by what their hands are doing. So either he's kind of centered with both hands up like this, or he's going to have one hand on the floor. If he's got one hand on the, let's start with centered, right? If he's sitting up like this, there's a couple different options. One I really like is I grab the lapel and I pull it really tight, because I know a lot of guys, when you engage them, they like to fall to their back to play open guard. but it's really hard for him. Let's try that. It's really hard for him to get his feet up if I pull him in. So if he falls back to go to the ball back here, see, he wants to get his feet up, and now I have to get around the legs, right? But if I'm here pulling, I fall back to your open guard, it's hard to lift your feet up. It's hard to lift his feet up high when he's sitting up, right? So usually what happens here is as he falls back, start falling back, he can pull me into a cut, right? Try to get the, yeah, there it is. Okay. So a lot of times I'll be here like this, the hands, and I try to go here, I pull, and then I'll try to lunge in on that cut. A lot of times you won't get it, and then you just have to be prepared to fight whatever guard they establish. Sometimes, like another one I'll do is I just look for that space. I might tap this up to open that gap, and I just lunge with my knee like a nail through that space and go for a fast cut. You can always try to like give them a quick push to get them on their back. You can also try the ankle lift. If they have one hand on the floor, let's do the other one. One thing I like to do is usually I'll just try to cross grip this and get the arm and take a big step this way. Once I go around here, once I get around here a little bit, it's really hard for him to come back to this. So he'll almost always fall to his back to try to recompose. And then now I don't get the pass, but he'll fall back. And now I can start fighting from him on his back. And I can start looking for Toreanos. I can start looking to come in for a knee cut. Start coming in this way, last one here, and start working the smash pass here and going that way. Cool. All right, guys, let's do one more question. Reverse the lead the best, which is 20% attacks. One more question. Okay, let's see. How do you look to search my guard? Maintaining collar and sleeve. Is there more possible than Daily Hiva X and Vice Guard? Yeah, there is. This is from Griggle Cotton. So we'll go up. Okay, so is there more options from, you called it same side sleeve, I call it cross sleeve, but I think you're referring to this one, right? He said from Daily Hiva X or Vice Guard. Yeah. Yeah, so you can go, of course, you could go for deep laces, and you could go straight for the back instead of Daily Hiva X. Obviously, the Vice Guard we talked about. But yeah, there is other ones. I can use my right foot here to push the hip out here like this. And I can sit up and do the sit-up guard, this time with the cross sleeve. This is really strong also. Okay, so once I push his hip out here and get this sleeve here, now usually I'll just grab this collar, I pull and kick this leg out, it'll force him to post his hand. Now I just press the collar away and stand up on the single leg. That's also a very, very good sweep game. If I go for that same system here, I say here, I go for the sleeve and he postures up really hard, which is really common. I can't get it. Now I'll let go of my left hand and I grab high on his back. And you can pull up to the back here. This is a great one. Cobrinha used to do this all the time. It's really effective. More abstract ones, but they still work. The guy has to give you the right response. Is sometimes when I'm here like this, I'm doing like leg hug, I'm looking for cross sleeve stuff. Sometimes you can feed this sleeve to this hand here, like this, right? And then if I can get that and switch to the collar fast, now he doesn't have a hand post here. So from here, it can be easy to either use my toes in the stomach or step on the floor to scoot back, and I can drop him backwards here just to take him down. You can turn that into a sweep, or you could start using that to start hitting a berimbolo. Either one of those works as well. Okay, guys? Cool. Any last like concept questions or training questions before we close it? Let's see here. Working down. Matador, yeah. Unfortunately, I didn't get to do the additional crowd ride video with Daniel Myra, but they put up a ton of content on Grappler's Guide covering all that stuff. So I think I have the link on my Instagram bio if you want to sign up there as well. Don't wipe with leaves. Okay. Hazard yourself to improve your game or your student's game. I think the biggest thing that's helped my game with the channel has been any technique I show. I never want to show anything that I don't spar with a lot and I test. Because a lot of times you can learn techniques and then kind of drill them a few times and then want to show them because they look cool. But I try to only, anything I'm showing you guys, I've sparred with a ton and tested on like world-class guys. And I never show anything that I don't do. So because of that reason, sometimes you guys will have requests. The live video on Instagram. So because of that, sometimes you guys will have requests, and I don't want to. I want to show you answers to those questions, but I don't want to show you before I've done it. So it drives me to spend a lot more time in the gym developing positions I might not have before, and I think that's certainly evolved my game a lot to be more well-rounded. Which, even though it wasn't the original intent, I think is maybe a better fighter in general. Better to be great at a few passes and be able to apply them, or be so-so at mini guard passes. I think you need to be great at a couple and so-so at a lot, because if you only have like one, it's very easy to dodge it. Like if everyone knows you're going to Toreano, they can like put themselves in a stack position, you know? If everyone knows you like to stack pass, they can stay sitting up. So you need different threats to force the guy to give you certain responses, but you certainly need one or two that you're really, really good at. Okay, guys, I'll probably do another live stream later this week. Hope you guys liked it. Message me on Instagram if you guys have any other requests. Thanks a lot.